That's what they say. Nice to see you. My name is
in view of India's growing mind amidst manufacturing economies. Not taking too much time, I'll straight away go to the inaugural ceremony, and let me request Mrs. Vinita Mohan, Executive Director of Precall, to come to this dais, please. Can I, madam? Can I also request Shri K. Ramaswamy, Chairman, Roots Industries, to come on the dais, please. Professor Dr. C. R. Rao also on the dais, please. Can I, sir? Can I also request Shri K.V. Ganpati, Chairman, Intech 2008 on the dais, please. And may I request Mr. C. Muthuswamy, President of Kodacia, to be on the dais, please. Mrs. Vanita Mohan to light the lamp, please. Mr. B.N. Prasad, who has come all the way from Bangalore for this particular conference to take over from me the ceremony of the rest of the conference. He'll be the moderator and the conductor for the conference this evening. I want to just give you a brief. He has 34 years of manufacturing experience in the industries like Eicher LMW Group. He's MTech from IIT Mumbai. I was talking to him a while ago, and that too in 1972. That's a long back really. He has been advising the industry and doing the seminars, conferences right across, and also a management consultant. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. B.N. Prasad.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate manufacturing, and Coimbatore is no stranger to manufacturing. We have some of the distinguished leaders of the industry amongst us. I first invite Srimati Vanitha Mohan to give her address. I think she is no stranger to Coimbatore. All the same, I just want to give a small introduction. She is the Executive Director of Pricol Limited, and the public face is that of the Managing Trustee of Sirutudi, all of you know, and the yeoman service this organization has done to Coimbatore, coordinator of this trust called Karam, Vice President of RAAC, Resident Awareness Association of Coimbatore, Vice Chairman of Coral, Committee Member of Co-India, Vice President Civic and Public Affairs of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry Coimbatore, then member of the Technical Advisory Committee to the Corporation of Coimbatore for JNURM schemes. May I now, on behalf of all of you, request her to give the address. Thank you.
Respected guests on the dais, members of Intech 2008, members of Texas Ventures, ladies and gentlemen. I consider it both a matter of pride and honor to be part of an event that has become synonymous with display of manufacturing excellence, not only in India, but globally today, the Intech. Ever since our former President, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, created a charter, or rather a roadmap for all of us Indians to steer India towards becoming a highly developed nation, a nation that the rest of the world would look up to. 2020 has become a magical figure for all of us, and all of us are eagerly waiting for that year. The Indian industry is, as all of you know, is undergoing a major change in several aspects, thanks to the opening of our doors to the global markets. The cluster concept is a major reason for the industry witnessing a manufacturing boom. Facilities that are part of a sea of new manufacturing hubs or clusters take advantage of the traditional skills of a community, transforming local groups of small manufacturing units into larger modern manufacturing processes. As you all know, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. Therefore, when members of a cluster help those who lag behind, meeting productivity targets and conforming to quality standards become more realistic and achievable. Personally, for all of us at Pricol, our suppliers were able to reap a lot of benefits by being part of a cluster in the form of shared resources like the tool room, R&D, quality testing labs, etc. Learning best practices from each other, buying raw materials in bulk, thereby taking advantage of the economies of scale, and to simply put it, just being there for each other. When Pricol became a member in the manufacturer-vendor partnership at the Bajaj Auto Pantnagar project in Uttarakhand, the learning was indeed much faster and greater. The support given by the manufacturing facilities of the auto component vendors in the immediate proximity will help reduce the gestation period of the new plant of Bajaj Auto tremendously and significantly. Shared systems and processes would eventually make the unit lean in terms of manufacturing efficiency from the word go. I'm sure the eminent speakers who are waiting to carry this conclave forward will have a lot more to deliberate and discuss on the global aspects of manufacturing clusters. Hence, I do not wish to take too much of time or deliberating on the technical side of things. India's biggest strength is its availability of manpower. It's expected to be the most populous nation by the year 2050. Its population is expected to grow from 1.08 million to 1.63 million people, overtaking China by the year 2050. India will also have the highest working population of the world. 700 million people out of 1.1 billion are young, and the young population trend is expected to continue till the year 2050. It is this human resource that needs to be harnessed to the advantage of the Indian economy. The US TV channel, CBS's most widely watched news program in the US, is a program called 60 Minutes. It has a viewership, I understand, of more than 10 million people. Its co-host Leslie Stahl, while introducing a segment of the IITs of India, said, "The US imports crude oil from Saudi, cars from Japan, TVs from Korea, and whiskey from Scotland. So what do we import from India? We import people, really smart people." His equation of IIT was Harvard plus MIT plus Princeton put together. Bill Gates once remarked, "After the Chinese, the South Indians are the smartest people in the world." No wonder he has Indians in all his key positions at Microsoft. When we have such immense talents being nurtured right under our noses, in my opinion, global manufacturing Vision 2020 should start with harnessing them and their skill sets. Coimbatore has always been a pioneer and a forerunner in throwing its doors open to new concepts and ideas. Another aspect that Odisha should look at is the infrastructural support that is required for organizing events like the INTEC. While I was talking to a few people who attended the inauguration yesterday, people who had come from out of Coimbatore, many of them complained about the lack of decent accommodation. That is something which is really lacking for a place like Coimbatore. I request Odisha and maybe Texas Ventures also to initiate steps along with other professional bodies to bridge this wide gap. It will certainly go a long way in supporting our efforts to bring global field players into the field. Before I conclude, my request to everyone present in this august audience here is on a subject that is very close to my heart. Whatever we do towards achieving global competency, all of us have a moral responsibility to protect the local fabric in the form of the region's culture and its people. We need to protect them at all costs and cannot afford to lose sight of them. Bangalore is a standing example of how a beautiful city, once called the Garden City, has been strangled beyond recognition in its eagerness to bring in world-class manufacturing processes through global players. A well-planned, sustainable growth plan is what all of us need to think about alongside manufacturing excellence. I take this opportunity once again to congratulate INTEC for a great show this year, and also my heartiest congratulations to Texas Ventures for organizing this conclave, and I wish you all the very best. I really hope that the deliberations that come out of this conclave today is going to add a lot of value to INTEC 2008. Thank you once again for giving me this honor of being with you this evening. Thank you.
And especially when we have the INTEC exhibition in Coimbatore, we could not have had any other person than Mrs. Vinita Mohan, who mentioned about working together, especially the supply chain, the small scale industries to work together to make manufacturing very important. Normally it is said that China is the manufacturing powerhouse and India is the IT powerhouse, but we are now seeing a resurgence in manufacturing. And we now move on to the next key speaker, Mr. Ramaswamy, who is the Roots chairman. He also is no stranger, or he doesn't need any introduction. I'll do a small introduction. Mr. Ramaswamy, who got educated in the US and could have got a job in the US, but said, let me start an industry in India and in Coimbatore. So he has been the chairman of the Roots, which has grown multifold. And the current employee strength of Roots is 2,500 numbers. And they manufacture electric horns, air horns, cleaning machines, aluminum pressure die cast patterns, and they have collaboration with German organizations. Mr. Ramaswamy can very proudly claim that he is a self-made industrialist, and in the recognition of the same, Mr. Ramaswamy has been conferred the Udyog Shri Award, Udyog Ratan Award, Gem of India, Bharat Jyoti Award, Rotary Pinnacle of Excellence Award, etc. Now, may I request Mr. Ramaswamy to continue from where we started. Thank you.
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, invitees, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be here in front of you to take part in this Global Manufacturing Cluster Vision 2020 Enclave. There cannot be a better time than now to organize such an event, as India is looked at by all the nations with lots of interest as a best destination to carry out business. It is indeed heartening to see that exactly 2 decades after the first INTEC, the exhibition was held, that we have come this far. Today, INTEC is recognized as one of the most important industrial trade fairs in the country and draws wide participation from both domestic and international. We should be immensely pleased to know that this year there are more than 50 participants from international destinations spanning more than 14 countries. That speaks volumes about the quality and the value these countries see in participating a show of this magnitude. Kudos to Rhodesia and its organizing committee for taking INTEC to never before heights. I also congratulate Rhodesia for partnering with Texas Ventures and bringing different minds from various fields such as education, manufacturing, IT, banking, design, research, automation, etc. to share their thoughts, to give a direction and create a rewarding future for the India's manufacturing industry. Indian industry has constantly undergone changes ever since our country was thrown open to the global competition by our former Prime Minister, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1991. Indian industry has grown in stature to become a force to reckon with in the global industrial arena. Indian companies are buying components in Europe, in America. Indian companies have established 100% subsidies in East and West. They've established companies in almost every developed nation now. This is the current scenario of Indian industry. So why are we meeting here? We are meeting here as how we can form our strategy to become global manufacturing hub. I'm sure all of you remember the old proverb that necessity is the mother of invention. Today and in the future, I see a trend that will redefine this phrase. Competition is the mother of innovation. Look a little closely, and this is exactly what is happening in the global market. Competition fuels the need for companies, organizations, and people to stay ahead. Innovation, ladies and gentlemen, is the key. Innovation in today's context was evolved. It no longer connotes discovery or invention. It means rediscovery or enhancing process already in practice. Across across every sphere and every domain of work, people are trying to better and thus they stay ahead. Allow me for a moment to take you back to the beginning of this mantra of the modern world. One of the reasons why the US has been able to survive as one of the strongholds of economic growth and competitiveness has been its policies of investment in innovation and R&D. Take any field, from pharmaceutical to manufacturing, from software to hardware, from airplanes to putting the first man on the moon. USA has been relentlessly pursuing the better alternative. Let us ignore the present crisis the United States is facing